Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Justice for All. I am your host, Jocelyn, and I'm so glad you could join me. It's been another beautiful day here in New Hampshire, sunny. Had a couple of days with chemtrails, but today seemed like they were not too many, and if they were very high. But this stuff needs to stop, and Trump and the rest of them are working hard at it, and we just have to support them and stop hiding in your house and drinking your Dunkin' Donuts. You got to get out there and stand with us. My guest tonight is going to be Regina Barnes, New Hampshire muckraker. We got a lot to talk about. You know, what Governor Kelly Ayotte is doing. What is she not doing? What are they slipping, underneath the tent, like the camel's nose? Yeah, what are they doing? What's going on? But a bunch of things they've been talking about in the news and on the internet, and they're talking about the national debt. When have they never, ever not talked about it? But my point is, and I'd love for somebody to come on and explain it to me. Well, not explain it to me, but explain why they've gotten away with it. Because to me, the national debt is the money that the Congress and the Senate, the government, has been spending without our permission. Because we know the Constitution says you can only collect taxes for infrastructure, defense, and trade. So how do we get the Department of Education, the Department of Air, the Department of Animals, the Department of, this, that, and the other? All the WHO, World Health Association, the UN, NATO, all these things, none of those are in the Constitution. You might be able to close one eye and stand on, one foot and twist a little bit to the left and say that, NATO and UN is part of defense. Maybe. But I disagree, because we, the taxpayers, are footing the bill for the rest of the world. And the Constitution says that we're not supposed to support the rest of the world, support war, support all those things, but yet we are. So that's why I disagree with it. So how'd the national debt get so high? Because they're spending money without our permission that we haven't voted on, that's not in the Constitution, that they decided was going to be for the good of all. Well, I'm sorry, we didn't elect you or give you any authority to do it for the betterment of all, for the good of all, for whatever you want to call it. So $35 trillion because you went to wars we didn't vote on, because you went to wars and, Bush kept them going for 20 years when we were never supposed to be. We're supposed to go over there, help our allies, and get the out. 20 years is not getting out. The other thing is, I think today or this week is the anniversary of when Biden did that god-awful pullout from Afghanistan. Been all over the internet. But that's another example. 80 billion or 83 billion with a B, equipment, brand new equipment left there. And you're charging it back to us. Oh, but that's defense, Jocelyn. Then it should have come back to this country because we paid for it. All this aid to all these countries, all this. USAID, we know what that was paying for. Again, not in the Constitution. It's being charged back to us. Well, if you look at the debt clock, I can't remember what it was. I want to say it's like at $30,000 per person, per taxpayer. Excuse me. We didn't authorize that. We didn't vote for that. You're spending money that A, you don't have, that B, you're charging back to us because you're printing it and then saying we owe it. We don't owe it. You spent it illegally and unconstitutionally. So that is a debt that is owned by the government, in my opinion, not we the people. And to turn around and say, oh, well, you owe this much. You owe. No, we don't. So I love to get some information and some feedback from people on how they feel. Just blanketly going along, oh, yeah, that's how much it costs to be an American. No, it doesn't, which is why Trump is saying, Make America great. Everything stays within our borders. Why he's pushing back? All these countries that get to charge tariffs while they sell their cars here, but we're not allowed to sell our cars there. And if we do, it's like at a 300,000% tariff. Canada charging us 200, 300, 400% for dairy products or steel. And Mexico charging us 150% for vegetables and blah, blah, blah. This is what's going on all over the world. England charging us big bucks for cars. Meanwhile, they're selling all their lovely cars here, but we can't sell jack diddly squat over there. This is the same as the national debt. We have been screwed over and over and over and over and over again, and they just smile and go, every taxpayer owes $30,000. How about every person? Why don't we divide it by every person? Why am I, or any of us, the taxpayers, also, in addition to the taxes we pay on the 600 things every day, why are we also paying taxes for people that don't work, don't participate, don't do anything? I'm getting to the point, quite frankly, where you don't pay taxes, you don't participate, you don't work, you don't get to vote. Oh, wait a minute, isn't that in the Constitution that you must be a person? Originally, it was men that had money and land. Don't have money, don't have land, you shouldn't vote because you don't have any skin in the game. May ruffle a few feathers, but at this point, you know what? The few that are working are paying for many that are not. I heard a really weird number, it's kind of like jumping off, but numbers, that 85% of the population got the you know what. 85%? Are you kidding me? Think about that. There's only 15% of us that stood up and said no. You can see why it's so difficult. Again, more food for thought. All right, I'm going to let that go because we got a lot to talk about with Miss Regina. So without further ado, let's go to hypocrisy and lies. Got a little video to start you off.
$5 billion, Hunter. And your father was never considered smart. He was never considered a good senator. He was only a good vice president because he understood how to kiss Barack Obama's ass.
All right, let's get started because I've got a bunch. I love those baby Trumps and those baby videos. You know, they are the best things. Whoever started those, thank you. They are amazing. This little section's called Explain This, Please. Let's go to video 1. Destroyed, hidden. What else are they lying about?
This has been hidden for centuries. We live among the remnants of an ancient civilization, and what's been discovered could change everything we know about history. In the early 19th century, strange events were reported worldwide. Cities were uncovered from layers of mud, revealing buildings buried up to their rooftops. A global disaster seemed to have buried entire civilizations, erasing them from history. But here's where it gets unsettling. The Tartarian Empire. Tartaria was an advanced empire shown on old maps, spread across Europe and Asia. They built amazing structures, had advanced technology, and could harness energy from the atmosphere. Some believe the mud flood was meant to erase Tartaria and hide their knowledge. But this is where it gets really scary. Look at the world's fairs of the late 1800s. These grand buildings were said to be built in just a few years and then demolished after the fairs. Was this done to erase evidence of a lost, advanced civilization? The Chicago World Fair in 1893, the Paris Exposition in 1900, and the St. Louis World's Fair in 1904. The sudden disappearance of these structures makes one wonder if they were remnants of the Tartarian Empire, hidden as temporary exhibits and destroyed to hide their origins. Comment Tartaria and I'll make a part 2.
I know I've talked about this several times, but have you seen the architecture ever been reproduced? Are you seeing those statues reproduced? You seeing the churches reproduced? No, we're not seeing any of this. So I'm leaning more and more towards, yep, there was a society that were absolutely brilliant. The science fairs, everything that they've buried. And how many people have said we're 150 plus years behind in technology? This kind of shows it to you, doesn't? Again, food for thought. Video 1A, this is another good one. Explain this, please. We all know about it, and those of us who know, but healing with classical music. Go, Chris. Amazing, isn't it? Is it a no wonder why they did that screeching, loud, god-awful music and changed the frequency? So they could make us crazy, so they could make your mind not work and not heal. It's like the church bells, the bells everywhere, the 9,000 plus that they destroyed after World War II. The bells healed. And if you go into the older churches, the pews went sideways, lengthwise down the church, not across the way they are today. So you can be lectured to, by the person in the front that's spouting their opinion. Sorry, I'm really getting sick of this. The churches, the pews ran lengthwise, and the bells were above, and they healed everybody. And the message for faith was delivered to everybody, not lectured. Just saying. Video 1B, here's another one. Explain this. Sections renovated. I wonder what they're talking about.
And is it merely a coincidence that the Pentagon was hit in the only section that was renovated to withstand that very same kind of attack? And that Donald Rumsfeld was safe in his office on the opposite end of the building? If the government has nothing to hide, why are they so afraid to answer a few questions or release a few videos?
This only section that had been renovated was hit. More and more and more information coming out. Those of us that knew from the beginning, we know there's so many videos that are coming out, people, firefighters, professionals that are telling us what actually happened on 9/11. But they are hell-bent on not letting us have any truth, not letting us know. It's time for the truth to come out, and it's time for the chips to fall where they may. And those that have been hiding it, and those that lied about it, and those that profited in whatever way need to be held accountable. And that isn't a slap on the wrist, no cash bail, and it ain't coming to the justice system here in the United States. Straight to Gitmo. That's where they belong. All right, just interesting. I told you, explain this. Video 1C. I wonder why doctors don't do this. Let's look at 1C. Let's explain this one.
You no longer need to visit the hospital thanks to this smart stitch invention. The stitch band functions like a doctor's stitches, but is less painful and 3 times quicker to use. Now you can treat your wound at home and feel like a doctor on your own.
Don't need to feel like a doctor. You would be one. There is no point to going into the ERs at this point, unless your leg's been cut off or you need surgery. There's no heart attack. There's no reason, because it's filled up with illegals and all sorts of people that they got a tummy ache, they stubbed a toe, they got a fingernail broken. I have lots of friends that work in the ER, so I'm not talking off the top of my head. But you go there for a real reason. You that pay really high insurance bills, and you're waiting 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 17 hours. You're stuck in the ER till they get a room upstairs, which, oh, by the way, they don't, because the stubbed toe person screams louder than you do. So, got some cut like this, you can keep it clean. We all know how to do that. So why not have the stitch band? Close it up, let it seal. And unless you got an infection, you're good to go. Because the pain of the Novocaine as they stick it into the laceration and then they sew it. Which would you pick? A lot of pain or no pain? Why aren't they all using it? Just saying. 1D, this one's a picture. Let's throw this one up, Chris. Explain this one. So I love this because it's Donald Trump. I love it. And J.D. Vance loving because the picture that goes along with this, it should be 2 pictures. Is there not another one with it? Oh, stink. There isn't. Okay. Anyway, it was pictures of different members of the Congress and the Senate that are not American citizens. They are foreign born, do not love this country, and do everything to, yes, pain makes more money, JM. Absolutely. Yep. I'd pick no pain. Absolutely, Penny. How many members of the government, of the federal government, have dual citizenship, which you're not supposed to have? How many of them are lawyers, which you're not supposed to be an esquire and in service? And how many of them were not actually born in this country? And their parents weren't either. So Constitution needs to be reread by trustworthy people and brought into line 100% with we the people and why we gave them the authority. And just because we gave them very specific, we have enumerated rights, written and unwritten. You can't mess with those. But we gave them very specific items that they were able to take care of and had authority for. And they have overstepped that and given the authority to other people. So that needs to stop. That needs to be, bleached, like a cloth. Now, with hardcore bleach and hydrogen peroxide. That's what we need in the swamp now. All right, picture 1E kind of goes in the same vein. Explain this one. We need term limits. We know that she needs a mandatory psychological evaluation. Pocahontas there. But we've got people in there 40, 45 years. This was supposed to be, thanks, Chris, to serve. Not to be a full-time job, retire with pensions and health care that none of us have, that we've paid for. We've paid for our own, but now we've paid for yours, and you go off into the, into the sunset, and you've got pensions for life that are 100 times more than ours, and you have health care that none of us can have. So that needs to stop. I say pass Amendment 28. And last but not least, video 1F. This is a really good one to end with. It's definitely a head scratcher, and I had to listen a couple times to it and go, you know what? Those are really good questions. Go, Chris.
Isn't it crazy that the higher up you go, which is closest to the heat source of the Earth, the sun, the colder it gets? And the deeper you go in the oceans, which is closest to the Earth's core, which is 6,000 degrees Celsius, it gets colder and colder and colder? Make that make sense.
Think about it. The core of the Earth is supposed to be millions of degrees, but the farther down you go, the colder it is, in the oceans at least. And the higher you get up to the sun, the colder it gets. I think somebody needs to explain that a bit better, and not a regular scientist or anybody from NASA, because we all know it's only missing one letter in there, and it's a T. Figure that one out. All right. That's the explain this section. I want to move on because I got to talk to Miss Regina, New Hampshire muckraker. So let's go to pre-break 1 and come back. We got a beautiful guest intro. Chris got it ready for this week, and so we'll roll right into that and bring Miss Regina on. I love that new intro. And so without further ado, let's bring on Regina, New Hampshire muckraker.
Hey, Jocelyn. I love that intro. Thank you, Chris.
He did an amazing job.
Yes, it's awesome.
It's amazing what you can do when you have talented people around you. So you like that, people? Get mugged, purchase a mug, donate. It helps us just get better and better. And let's Chris get more and more software so we can deliver you incredible shows and keep on going. So, let's talk about, before you give us an update, sorry about that noise. Russia's
Amtrak or whatever it's called.
Yeah. Trump is going to town and really exposing a bunch of things. He's got the National Guard in D.C. and everybody's losing their shit. But hello, it's not a state. It's a foreign territory. He can actually bring them in there, can't he?
Oh, I would say he can bring them wherever he wants because all he's doing is enforcing the rule of law, which is what we voted for. It's like these wackos that we got here in Hampton that want to complain because they don't want our police department to work with federal immigration, ICE, Homeland Security. Homeland Security and the Hampton Police Department are always in communication for as long as I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it an issue now? Well, I'll tell you why. Because of Trump. Because of the wise guy that I think Stiletto said earlier in the comments. He's a wise guy. And that's exactly what the American people voted for. And
correct.
I'm psyched. It's awesome. And I think that we're just going to keep getting, it's going to be a freaking, I don't know what you call it, a storm of just good things for the American people.
Well, it's interesting because last week on the Amherst PD page, they had put up that the Homeland Security, ICE, and our police department all cooperated and arrested. There's not a lot of details.
Oh, yes, in Amherst, right? Yeah.
So they had arrested some illegals. I believe there was a Chinese firm involved. Again, nobody's confirmed anything, but that's the scuttlebutt out there. And so they put it out on Facebook, and the Easter egg colored hair people, they can't even get the color right. It's always Easter egg faded yuck, and wearing, trash clothes from I don't know where are on there, keyboard warriors.
Right. Yeah.
You don't understand the Constitution. People means everybody. No, people means, go on to Ron Bouchard, We the People too. People is a very specific American citizen, land owning, tax paying. People is not the Wikipedia definition. It's the original. And
they want it to be anyone that walks over the border is the people now.
And those people should not be counted on the census either, because that's inflating the numbers so that the nutcases can get more representation in DC. But if you look at California, I think that I don't have the exact numbers, but something like 100 representatives, and 80 of them are Democrats and only 20 are Republican. And then if you look at New Hampshire, we have no representation, 0 in DC. All of our reps, are here. Some of them are Republican, but nobody going to the federal government, nobody representing us in DC is a Republican. And it's not because we haven't voted for them. We know why it is. Dominion Act of Won't Be Pains.
Yeah, that's the freaking rigged deal they got. They got the Shaheens send their people to DC, and Sununu's and those guys, they keep their people in the State House.
Absolutely.
And the Dominions have set up to do that. They do it at the local elections for things they want to pass, for things they don't want to pass. No one believes that. Then, get your freaking head out of the sand and don't talk to me, because that's what they're doing.
Right. And
they've been doing it, and I've been stupid. I woke up. You were probably stupid at one point. You woke up. But these people that are still stupid, I'm sorry. I don't have time for them anymore.
And I'm not going to wait for them to wake up, and I'm not going to hold their hand. You get in line.
Right.
start supporting the rest of us that have been trying to save your ass. But like I said in the first part, if 85% of the people got it,
that's nuts.
Now you know what we're dealing with.
And you know what? It's true, because when I was as a selectman, I was elected. I was running for state office. I was speaking out against the bullshit. I wasn't wearing a mask. And to this day, I still have Republicans telling me, they're supposedly conservative, Trump supporting Republicans, that they're getting their vaccines and they're fucking still telling me they got COVID because they got tested for it. I'm like, dude, the test is freaking rigged like everything else. What do you not get about it? COVID does not exist. What did exist was what they dumped on us, whatever it was.
Yep.
But when you're sick now, it can't be COVID. It's just you're sick. You know, I mean, what are we all just, I mean, people that are close to me that I tell everything to, they say, oh, I think I have COVID. No, you don't have COVID. You're sick.
Oh, God. I was just looking on here because I just posted, let me see if I can get there. I just posted, just came out about the vaccines. Okay. The CDC is being sued over the childhood vaccine schedule. There was never any testing whatsoever, especially for children, and they've never tested the multiple vials, the multiple jabs in one vial.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Never, ever, ever. And everybody's signing up and letting their kids get poisoned, get killed, get jabbed.
They were the test ones. The 85% that took it, they were the guinea pigs, okay?
Yep.
They put something into their bloodstream that they knew nothing about, and they're mad at me because I wasn't stupid enough to do it.
Exactly. And they'll beat you up over it, which going to the arrest on the Facebook page, these people, instead of learning the truth, they typical, just like COVID, they attack you. I'm going to see if I can find it. I was caught. I showed, Ron Bouchard was awesome. He came to my aid because these guys were just like doxing and releasing information and going after me. This one guy, Dan, you voted for a felon, racist con man, criminal, and sexual predator. Oh, are they talking about themselves and Biden and everybody else on the Democratic side? And you probably voted for that clown governor that's selling off New Hampshire land to corporate real estate. It's absolutely
well, they might be somewhat right about that.
that I can't disagree with. But to make out like, I'm the one that was totally responsible for it. Where is this? I don't have it here, but Ron's response, because the guy was like, you obviously have never read the Constitution. You don't understand people, blah, 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 rule of law, blah, blah, blah. And I do. So Ron decided to take him on because he said, you're a bully. You're a keyboard warrior that doesn't know jack shit. So he goes, you're out of your league. You called the maxims of law mythology. Sir Edward Coke, the giant of English law, says otherwise. A maxim is a proposition to be of all men confessed and granted without proof, argument, or discourse. That's not fluff. It's the immutable foundation of law. Like positive laws must align with natural law, or delegated powers cannot be redelegated. I talked about that at the beginning. The rule of law as defined is that which is fixed and unchanging, binding upon all persons and institutions alike, and superior to the will of men. That's the underpinnings of the Constitution, not the guy that attacked me, cherry-picked people from the preamble. People means the body politic, citizens with allegiance, not illegal aliens. So it goes on. And they just, they need due process. They have the right to this and the right to that. No, you don't. They have the right to human rights, and that's it. No due process, no court of law, no nothing. You broke the law, you're here, you're leaving.
They don't have a right to come to our country for court, because if they're coming here illegally, then they don't have the right to do it. I'm sorry. Like,
Yep.
you're not, the laws of America are not for you unless you're a citizen.
Correct. I just don't understand why they are standing on that hill. You know, I just don't understand that. You've got more money than God, then you take a couple of them into your house, then you pay for them. But to sit there and mob rule, demand that we have to finance everything when we can't get into our own doctor's offices for 9 months, we can't get into the ERs for hours.
If they don't go home, they're gonna get deported. I mean, did you see the other day? Yesterday, the day before, literally Homeland Security of the United States did a tweet that just said, "Go home." I'm like, you can't make this stuff up. Like, I mean, it's right in your face, people.
Yep.
The guy is giving you the chance to self-deport yourself, get to your home country. You want to come here legally, start the process.
Yep.
I mean, this is not anything, this is common sense. I don't know how this issue has become a bigger issue than, someone just said it that I was reading or watching a video. This issue, immigration, has become a bigger issue than abortion or guns.
Correct.
With the parties. I mean, and it's not even a partisan issue. It's like, dude, you don't come here illegally. You know, it's like the Democrats that don't want our local cops to work with federal law enforcement. They've been doing that our whole lives.
Yep.
Well, if you want to do it now?
Sorry?
I said they've been doing it the whole lives. You don't want us to do it now because it's Trump.
Right. Well, Hillary, they just did a clip of Hillary and saying that, you know, you come here illegal, you have to be deported, you know, no, don't pass go, do not collect 200, you're supposed to go back. Everything they're attacking him for and us for, we have video upon video of them saying the exact same thing. Biden saying the same thing. Clinton saying the same thing.
What these people need to realize, like that idiot that you had on, I assume that was Facebook that person wrote that. Yeah. I don't miss that freaking social media at all. When I just see those people, I just write back to them chanting, because that's all they know how to do is group chant, whatever the narrative is. And what these people need to realize is that the chanting days are over. You lost, okay? We let you have your stupid show for 4 years. Those days are over. Now we have we don't have 45. We have 45-47, which means his first 4 years, he figured out exactly what he needed to do. And he figured out exactly who he could trust and exactly who he couldn't trust. And now he's doing it his way to show the American people that these guys, if they're not already charged for treason,
they will
and
be.
they're not already in Gitmo, then you're going to be shown that that's where they're going. That's what's happening right now. I mean, did you see Tulsi's had a press release with Caroline Levitt, I think, a couple hours ago?
Yep. I'm just going to pull that up. So, whoops. You and I were just talking about that. Tulsi Gabbard, she uncovered. Now, I talked about this 3 weeks ago with Robbie Stewart from the UK, and he was explaining about burn bags because when he was the Royal Air Force, he dealt with this, and there's a protocol, and there's a way, and there's a list, and there's a sign in, sign out, this. Totally. So how did those burn bags disappear? Well, or not get burned and were disappeared, only to show up. Well, Tulsi uncovers burn bags of documents tied to the 2020 election corruption. Say it isn't so.
Oh, you mean the 2020 rigged election?
Yep. So let's see. As the administration continues a historic federal crime crackdown in Washington, D.C., and a push for peace negotiations in the Russia-Ukraine war. And oh, by the way, there's been no new wars since Trump. He's trying to put out the fires of the idiot before us.
He's put out all the fires of all the ones that they've all set up for the past 300 years.
To make money and power. Directly address the bombshell findings. According to a statement by President Trump, these files contain massive evidence of wrongdoing and will soon be made public. You also found many bags of information. They're supposed to be burned. They didn't get burned, having to do with how corrupt the 2020 election is. And Tulsi, Mr. President, I will be the first to brief you once we have that information collected. But you are right. We are finding documents literally tucked away in the back of safes in random offices and in these bags and in other areas, which again speaks to the intent of those who are trying to hide the truth and trying to cover up the politicization that was led by people like John Brennan, James Clapper, and others that have caused immeasurable harm to the American people and our country.
You know what that reminds me of?
What?
New Hampshire.
No.
One big cover-up cabal.
Yeah. I mean, don't we have the highest number of LLCs in this state? And,
and that's where all the COVID money went to. All the LLCs, all the law firms, Shaheen Gordon, Sununu's freaking Waterville Valley.
Yep. Money laundering. I want to say it's in the hundreds, the LLCs, more than any other state, and the trillions that went through them. And here's the key. Not one of these businesses returned any type of service to the USAID and where that money was coming from.
That's just a laundering scheme, just like we're finding out. And the only reason I know this is because a very, 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 very reliable source who needs to rename anonymous told me that those freaking, you know how they have the gambling going on all over the state? They want to push the casinos.
Yeah.
Those machines are made by the same vendors that make the voting machines.
Oh, I was just going to say that. Yeah. Oh, no. So yeah, I have another source who has passed, God rest his soul, who told me the same thing and about the COVID money. But there was a video just released 3 days ago that those machines are the exact same as the Dominion AccuVote machines. The same.
The gambling ones?
Machines, yep.
Oh, can you send me that? Because I want to send it to this guy.
Yeah. I'll find it. Oh my God, that's so
okay.
weird.
Yeah, he told me this a while ago because he knows I've been like, we got that big casino project that's going up. Blue Poli's doing, and he did one in Salem, and he's doing all his shit he does in Lawrence, and now he's going to do one in Hampton. And I mean, some people are freaking out about it, but I mean, it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, they're doing it everywhere else.
One-armed bandits, correct, Donna?
Right, exactly. So, I mean, everything they do literally is to launder money and probably other things.
Absolutely. Now, Trump still has 140 nominees that the Senate is blocking.
He sort of went off on Grassley the other day about that.
Yep. We need to get them confirmed. Every president, no matter what party they are, has had their nominees confirmed. The Republicans confirmed them. They held their nose, right, wrong, or indifferent, and they did it. But the Democrats will not, and they are screwing with them. We're in month 7, and there's 140 nominees not confirmed. The people elected him, and we voted for this, and they're not doing their jobs. They need to be fired. But what did Pam Bondi just do? Who did she just send in?
Erin Cregan.
Yep.
Yeah. So interim appointment for the U.S. Attorney for New Hampshire.
Correct.
So that is a appointment. The way I look at it, it's an appointment coming from Trump and not from any rigged person in New Hampshire.
Correct.
So I hope that people that have done things, especially with regard to elections, I mean, we're probably going to be making a trip up about the property tax stuff to get to them at some point.
Yeah.
We're working on that in conjunction with, the next step is going to have to be going to court since we just got completely ignored, which I expected from any political body in New Hampshire pretty much because it was sent to everyone. So yeah, I think she's a good resource. Everyone that's done work, I would definitely advise we should get all the work we've done in New Hampshire.
Yep.
to her office, and it's right in Concord. So
Well,
you can
especially
yeah,
any case that we filed in court, because
definitely.
that's thousands of dollars that we have spent of our own money as pro se litigants, because, you know, they're all from the bar and they're all esquires. We've had to do it ourselves, and our cases have been accepted. We've paid the money. They've been filed, whether you win or lose. I say we make a personal trip up there and deliver our cases and say, you know, stolen money. And when we've got judges that say you have no standing, we know that's a pat answer that they're using across the United States.
Well, that's what they told Trump. That's what they were telling Trump. And now look what's happening. He's getting it appealed, and everything's going his way.
Yep.
So,
which means everything we filed should be refiled automatically. We shouldn't have to pay for it. Everything we can prove we filed should be refiled.
Maybe, hopefully, by giving it to the Attorney General, to like put it this way, if we had an AG that actually did their job, we could use AG to prosecute the elected that were like what I got rid of the town clerk. The AG sort of did their job there, you know? So, but they're not going to do that for the really big stuff. Mm-hmm. So maybe we have this lady now, Erin Cregan.
Yep.
That she will do the job because she was appointed by Bondi, which means it's coming from Trump.
Correct.
You know, so I think that maybe instead of us spending all this money to do all this legal work ourselves, why can't we use the federal agencies that are supposed to be there to go after these people for us?
Correct. Because defense is defense of the country and defense of the citizens, and we're not being defended. We're being attacked.
But our findings prove that elected officials and non-elected officials in the state are violating their oath.
Correct. Oh, over and over again. When are they not?
It's to the federal constitution too. It's a federal law too, not just state law. And It's constitutional federal law, not the crap. The constitutional federal law, which Trump can do an executive order for. If it's taken us back to constitutional law, he can do it by his pen, because that's how they took us out of it.
Correct. And then all we got to do is once he gets in a legit Congress and Senate, they codify it, and it never gets changed by the next. Because that's the other thing. Everybody's like, oh, he did an executive order. Okay, that only lasts for the 4 years that he's president, and it only applies to his employees, the employees of the government.
Except all those real interesting executive orders that he signed into law that Biden renewed, even though they went completely against his agenda.
Well, that's
just a conspiracy theory.
Continuation of government, so continuity of government. So but these type of ones need to be codified, and then he needs to, all the laws and things that have sunsetted, they need to be removed, and anything that the government, since they started absentee ballots, there is no election that's legit. Which leads us to talking about Governor Ayotte, and you were talking about there's a couple of bills there.
So those bills, that whatever that New Hampshire Journal article or whatever it was. So the two bills that got passed are House Bill 67, and of course you got like, what's the guy there? Ross Berry, who's like the chairman of the election law committee. I mean, that guy he's one of the, I call him the Sununu groomed Republicans, you know, he's pushing the housing and all the bullshit in the state.
Yep.
And so this bill directs cities and towns to enable access to voting for individuals and disabilities during elections.
Mm-hmm.
So this is to make sure that we have accessible voting machines all over the place for not just our state and federal elections, which I believe Trump just did another order that is getting rid of mail-in voting and voting machines for federal elections.
Correct.
So this conflicts with that. And it also conflicts with our own state constitution, because voting machines, like we've been talking about for years, Dan Richards specifically, me, you, a bunch of us, have not been ratified by the people of New Hampshire as a way to count the votes.
Correct.
So they keep ignoring that issue and working their way around it. And then the other bill was about absentee voting, where they're claiming there's an affidavit, but they haven't, you know, there's no way of, there's no affidavit process for this. You can just say one of the following applies to me. That's not attesting to anything if you're not even telling us what it is.
Right. If you're not having to be specific, and they added all the extra ones in because of COVID. So, right. You know, it's pick one or just check the box and one of these apply, but it's not an affidavit because the signature was not notarized. But what's really weird, I was in a chat, I'm trying to think what chat it was, and they were talking about, I think in Pennsylvania, they were saying that affidavits aren't really legal, and that, you know, whether they're notarized or not notarized, affidavits are really not a legal instrument. Really? Really? That means that all the law cases and all the stuff that's gone on for hundreds of years is all fake and false, but it's not. What's fake and false is when they changed the absentee ballot, they took off the notary and the sign where you sign in the notary signature so that they could add extra reasons for getting an absentee ballot. There's only two. You're out of the country or you are severely disabled, in which case the town clerk comes to your house or you get a doctor's note.
I remember before COVID, they used to come up to the polls and somehow contact the town clerk, would come out to their car with the ballot, let them fill it out, and then the town clerk herself, and then she would bring it back in. And, you know, this is all, the Ross Berry guy's talking about how this is making it similar to like when you vote in person is when you vote to absentee. No, because when you vote in person, you're checking in and someone is verifying that it's you.
Yep.
That's not happening with an absentee ballot.
And when you vote in person, you have to go behind the security line to vote. These people are not voting in a secure area. They're voting in their bathroom, in their kitchen. And we don't even know if it's them. We don't even know if a legal, legit person is asking for the absentee ballot.
And I know I've had a dozen people tell me that they've gone down because they're going to be away or whatever, and they've gone down to get an absentee ballot, and they don't even get an ask for ID.
Nope. Because I was told the Secretary of State put out, it was a year or two ago, that they're not allowed to ask.
They're not allowed to ask to verify someone.
Correct. But if you vote in person, you do. That's discrimination. That's two types of voters.
It's two classes of voting.
Yep. Yep.
Which I believe Dan's got a case about that too.
Correct. So yeah, I think we need to do a lunch date and go visit Miss Aaron and deliver the actual professional cases that we have that have been ruled on, and say, you know, we need these to be what's the word I want? What's the word?
Maybe have them scheduled for I don't know what. I mean, I would imagine that if we prove that they're breaking federal law, then they should prosecute whoever's responsible for breaking the law. Is that pretty much the entire state of New Hampshire?
Correct. Wow. So we've just covered so much. And I want everybody to remember that we have got Ron Flosser, Reel to Reel at 9:15 right after my show. Let's go to break to come back and just hit a couple of videos and let me get your feedback on them.
Okay. I love that picture when we're at Dan's hearing.
Exactly. We have to get more pictures of you and me going out in there and making hell. Yeah, I mean, this has been awesome. I think this is one of our best shows because we're really touching on everything that we've done, and Trump's putting some people in place. And I think now is the time to test the waters and say, okay, this is what we've done. What are you going to do for me lately?
Definitely. And I think we need to bomb that office with everything that everyone's done.
Absolutely. Go in there respectfully and say,
right. Exactly.
This is filed. Please accept this. It's clean. It's typed. It's, according to all the dumb rules. I mean, if I added up the money that I spent with Wayne just to do the filing to Boston, the number of copies, you had to have a certain cover page. It was somewhere around $500-600 just for the copies to submit to the judges who went, you have no standing.
What a bunch.
And I can't write it off on my taxes, but they can. Like Crockett there can have her nails done and her extensions, and she gets to write it off her taxes, plus be reimbursed in her business account by we the people. But you and I who file and try to do the right thing can't write that off our taxes.
Yeah, now in this one, we'll be pro se. We're going to be pro se litigants, me and this one other guy. We got like 50-something people signed up.
Wow.
So that's
awesome.
like why I want to get that. Like I'm going to try to get that pretty soon filed with the court. I'm still working on a couple things. Every time I think I'm done and I think of something else I want to put in there.
I know that's the problem. And if you don't put it in, you don't get to argue it. That's the problem.
Right. And that's what, there was a couple things that I didn't know the process last time. And now I know whatever we want to talk about, I want to get to the judge in that first filing that I do.
Yep.
So that's what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
Let's take a quick look at video number 2. I call this batshit nuts.
News here in batshit bonkers Britain, where the police have announced they have a new fleet of facial recognition vans so that they will be able to increase the surveillance of the state. This will be specifically targeted at easy to police white people doing naughty things like putting up a tweet in anger, or maybe holding a sign, but will largely disregard illegals doing stuff like, targeting young kids, or maybe breaking into people's homes uninvited. In other news, Keir Starmer invites Zelensky over for chats whilst the adults Putin and Trump have actual conversations elsewhere. No news yet on whether the 3 Ukrainian bum boys are also being invited to this little cosy gathering. And finally, A-level results day for students everywhere. Auntie Katie politely asked you to think about not going to university. I know you will say that, what am I going to do? And that is the right question. But the answer is very seldom a festering turd of a university that's going to teach you what you're allowed to think. They call them scholarships, but actually these are bribes. They're trying to bribe you to go because the market is oversupplied, there is too little demand, and students and young people are brilliantly realising for themselves there is actually not much value at all in getting loaded.
I mean, it goes on, but, I got the batshit right from her. She goes batshit bonkers from the UK.
Batshit bonkers.
I love it. It's just, you have to, but vans driving around in the UK, because I'm going to talk to Robbie about it next week, facial recognition, because he got into trouble with, I think it was being outside of a store, and a whole bunch of people got arrested and, for absolutely nothing. But illegals can murder, kill, rape, and do all these other things and get a slap on the hand.
Not in DC.
Yeah. Well, what's that guy that, I hate to say his name, but the guy that was sent to El Salvador and they brought him back. God only knows why. I don't even remember.
Oh, God, yes.
And now he's supposed to go to some other prison, and another stinking judge has said you cannot deport him. He's not an American.
Right. Yeah, no.
He gets due process.
Crazy that we're even wasting any time on that.
I say deduct it from the paychecks and see how fast they stop that stuff. This one is absolutely driving me nuts. Let's go video 2A. California.
Ugh.
You know what it's going to be.
There is a bill that California is trying to pass. It allows anyone to download a form, walk into a school, and walk out with a child. No ID, no questions asked. In the school, they're legally banned from contacting the parents. They are claiming it's to protect the immigrants. But Pastor Jack Hibbs, he calls it what it is, the legal trafficking bill. He also says this is the most dangerous bill we've ever seen from Democrats. Could you imagine dropping your kids off at school and not knowing if they'd be there when you go to pick them up? This isn't politics anymore. It's just evil. And if you're still in California, you better start looking at relocating out of state.
Wow.
There's no word.
Anywhere's going to do it, it's going to be there first.
Oh, yeah. And then it sweeps across the United States.
Right. Well, that's the problem. That's what they want, the whole state to be what California is.
The whole country,
the whole nation, the whole country, yeah.
I mean, can you imagine somebody fills out a form, they pick up your kid, and you go there. So you know what that says to me? Shut down the public schools. You go to homeschooling or private schools.
If anyone is still sending their kid to a California public school after that bill getting passed, they're crazy.
Absolutely. I mean, are your kids not worth everything in the world?
You're better off just letting your kids stay at home by themselves all day than going there. I mean,
I agree. All right. And the last one that's just going to send you over the hill. Video 2C, please, Chris. Where did the FEMA money from North Carolina go? This will blow your mind.
Get it. Boys got a youngster dog going to squash the D. No, that shit ain't none of my business. I like to see niggas eat. How they put them damn insane. How they call the body. Say she don't want to go to sleep. I told her Papa Molly. Nickname C-Man. Bitch, I'm super silent. You don't like me, Bobby Brown. Bitch, that your pride.
Yeah, FEMA's you know what.
Yep. Again, 4-letter agency that is not in the Constitution, that none of us ever voted for, that was never amended, that's never been a law, stealing money and using it for purposes not intended, and then punishing the people that should be getting it, even though it's illegal. I'm
Right.
so glad that Tom Homan got that and sent it back to North Carolina and Tennessee.
That's awful.
Isn't that awful? That's
Really
why
awful.
my whole talk about the national debt is not yours and mine, because they're taking that money.
Theirs, yeah, theirs.
That's not my debt. That's not your debt. That's not any American's debt. That's
Did you ever read a State of New Hampshire budget? Every one I've read, which is very tedious to read, all the money that goes to health and human services. Like,
No.
we're talking, it's got to be like at least hundreds of millions of dollars every time they pass a budget. Like, what can you possibly be spending all that money on in one? I mean, we know what Health and Human Services is responsible for doing.
Yeah.
Okay, the COVID, the trafficking, everything.
Yeah.
That's how they do it. And the money that we raise every year, and not one of those legislators seems to care.
No, they
You know?
don't. Again, because they're breaking their oath of office. They don't know what it is. They're not held accountable because they're protected. And we, the people, have got to grow a set and become
What people need to realize is the people are the ones that are protected the most.
Yeah.
All you have to do is exercise it.
Correct. Well, as usual, this has been a fabulous hour. It's flown by. So I think maybe we should if you can grab some of the budgets for Health and Human Service, we'll do a quick little go over that in 2 weeks so people can get an idea of the money.
Yeah, I'll go just to the last budget they passed. I mean, it's all, and like even the way they word it is sketchy.
Oh,
Like,
definitely.
what is money like going to? You're just appropriating millions of dollars and we don't even know what it's going to.
It's a mini USAID.
Exactly. Definitely.
I love it. Let's do that. Thanks, girlfriend. And
right.
let's have a day where we go up to Concord and we go meet this lovely lady and give her everything she needs and wants.
Yes, Mrs. Erin Cregan.
Yep. Christmas is coming early.
Great.
Love it.
Right.
Take care.
Have a good night.
Soon. You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
That's Regina Barnes, New Hampshire muckraker. And, bringing it every single time. Can always count on her to bring the facts, the truth, and not afraid to follow through like the rest of us. It's great. So without further ado, we're going to go to the fabulous pre-breaks and outros, or not pre-breaks, pre-outros, which are so good. I love them. Thanks to Chris for putting this all together, and the fabulous intro for Regina. And enjoy your night, enjoy the outros, and we'll see you at 9:15 on Telegram. My broadcasters, click at the top, join, and join the conversation. Blessings to you all. Fight, fight, fight. Follow the Constitution. See you next time.